Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Agent Paranormal. Everyone is laughing around me here in the studio. Awkward. There's a delay. So we've got an awesome episode for you tonight. Sorry, I didn't have my caffeine tonight. Tonight's our first episode of Agent Paranormal Academy. Remote learning. Did I say that right, Kevin?
Maybe.
Kevin's been teaching me here. Oh, there it is.
Remote learning.
Look at that. We are
Awesome.
remote learning
Awesome
tonight.
logo. Who does our graphics?
I don't know,
Guys,
but they do a pretty darn good job at it.
I heard
they're
he's
not
a
bad.
Pretty sexy guy. I know that.
Yeah, he's sexy and he knows it, right?
Oh, his name is Fred?
Fred, absolutely. So thank you for joining us for another awesome episode of Agent Paranormal. I'm your host, Rich. And joined with me tonight, we've got some familiar faces and some new ones here co-hosting. We've got Kevin behind the board.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
We're going to start calling him Pevin. Because Chris called him Pete, so we decided just to settle on Pevin. It's kind of a common. I do that a lot. Do you ever notice that? I combine things like that. I know it's irritating. I understand, but I do it. We got Todd. He's hiding behind the curtain there. I think he might be not feeling well or something. That
Pay no attention to
sushi
that.
he got out of the gas station machine might not be agreeing with him at the moment. So, and then we got Vicky and Chris.
She's right below us.
Yeah. So Chris has been here before. He's a familiar face.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, got mad at us and took off for a few months. And, I hate you guys. Yeah. And then, and then he came back and he brought his wife Vicky. And it's always good to have female and male people here in the audience, both point of views.
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not? Where's the cameras? Where's the TV? Funny story. About 5 minutes before the show started, I'm over here looking because the TV was always over here. I'm like, where's the TV? It's right here in front of me. Right. Yes. Thank you, Pevin, for blowing it up on my face. I appreciate that. So tonight we want to talk a little bit about ghost hunting equipment and the tools that you will bring with you when you go on a paranormal investigation. That's important, right?
Oh, definitely.
You got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, some people bring this. It's an iPhone. Wow. Oh, wow. That's cool. Anyways, you can actually do a paranormal investigation with an iPhone. There are apps that you can use.
I do have a couple of those apps, and some work pretty good. I think the last time we were on a hunt, I actually used part of my iPhone, and we were comparing it to the actual equipment to see if they would register similar, like EMF reader. And
So you're hunting with an iPhone? How did that work out for you?
well,
Shh, be very, very quiet. There's a women. Wait a minute. I think he's basically now gone. Elmer Fudd.
Who knows?
No, just the gun.
He's canceled now, too.
He can only go in with an iPhone now.
That's it. That's all he can do. Technology is wonderful, and apps have made their way into the ghost hunting world. I'm still a little kind of skeptical on them because I still really kind of want to have my phone on the side in case someone calls me. In my luck, I'll be doing an EVP session and my wife will call or something, or in the middle of it. Oh, no! So I put it aside. But some people really like it. I mean, I do have a dedicated iPad that I use for the Spiritus app, which is an app I bought on the App Store. For some reason, the one I bought is English and the one Pete bought is German. He gets so mad. He goes, I think there's something wrong with this. I don't understand anything coming out of this. I think it's German. Because it's like, Achtung, and it's weird stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. But it's interesting because it's really kind of like it's like a word sampler. It just takes parts of words and just keeps repeating them over, and you ask questions. And at first, it was kind of hokey, honestly. It's fringe, to be honest with you. But when we did Hinsdale investigation, we asked about the exorcisms that were there, and we asked, how many exorcisms, and it said 2. So I was like, okay, could be coincidence, absolutely. Right. But I asked other questions, like how many fingers am I holding up? I got nothing. But when I asked about the exorcisms, it said 2. So weird, weird. So, we don't think everything that we hear necessarily is evidence of the paranormal.
No.
But however, you can't dismiss it when it correlates to the story.
exactly.
So, all right. So what we want to talk about tonight is give you a little bit of a preview and a tutorial about using some of the equipment that we use. Now, each of us has a different toolbox full of equipment. Some of the stuff is a little pricey, and some of us have different budget points and what we want to spend and use. I bought some expensive ones that, like the Ovilus, that really hasn't done much for me. It's, you guys interested in buying it? I'll give you a hell of a deal. But I think essentially, if you stick to the basics, I think you'll never go off the beaten path. Once you start going towards the fringe stuff, you're throwing your money up in there. You don't know. I mean, you may have seen how it looks good on Ghost Adventures, but you don't know. You know, I mean,
what they don't know is they're shooting hundreds of hours to get that one 10-second clip of something happening with it.
This is true.
You know,
this is true.
So when you go out for one night and you're only there 5, 6, 7 hours,
right?
You know, the odds of getting something that significant is probably a lot lower.
Well, it's interesting because we were involved in the the episode of Haunted Collector at the Hulbert House.
Right.
And that was a 30-minute episode, maybe 22 minutes was actually. Chris, you're a TV guy, so you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably 8 minutes in commercials or so.
At least.
So about 22 minutes.
Yep.
I think they were there for a week and a half or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Every night filming. Every night.
And they probably did 8, 10, 12 hours every night.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of work. You get 22 minutes of a show. I mean, they did. I mean, just think of this for a second. You know, we get up in the morning, we go to work, or some of us go in at night. But we know where our duties are for that day. You know, we go in and it's like, okay, there's some repetitiveness. Then there's some new things that we have to take care of. But when you're doing a reality show like this, it's like, okay, Mr. Zaffis, report to the thing. All right, go.
Yeah.
Get some ghosts. It's just like, it's just kind of like each night is different. I'm sure there's some type of game plan in all this, but again, it's just kind of like you got your equipment, you've got your your experience and your senses, and you got people following you around in cameras, and you got to produce something. If you're not producing things for the show, then why are they going to continue the show?
Exactly.
So,
nobody's going to sit there and watch it.
Exactly. So there's kind of some pressure there. So when we go investigating, many of us use different things. Like I'm a big audio guy, so I really like the audio evidence. I think for me that's been the easiest type of evidence for me to get, and I have a whole arsenal of tools to do that. But I also have tools that kind of help me direct me in that direction. So when we go in to do an investigation, and Kevin's smirking over here, so...
Well, I got Pete in our chat.
Peter.
And
Hi,
he said,
Pete.
Hey, Pete.
Rich said duty.
Oh. So we got Keat and Pevin.
Yes.
Pevin and Keat. So, so when we do a place, the first thing that we do, okay, let's do it this way. You're a brand new paranormal investigator. You want to go on an investigation. Someone invites you into, quote or unquote, a haunted house or building, okay? So you walk in. So usually when we walk in, plates aren't flying around. And we're not seeing ghosts run up and down the stairs and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, where's Waldo? You know, we got to try to find and make this happen. Yeah. So normally when we go in, we put together some type of game plan, okay? A strategy. So when we go there, the first thing we like to do is to get some information about the location, the story, the history, names, things like that. Because if we're going to try to do spirit communication, because I remember I said I do a lot of the audio stuff,
right?
We need to kind of know who we can talk to. We can't just sit there all night. All right, I hear, here's a dictionary of names. Is there a Jim here? Well, check that off.
Yeah.
Is there a Billy here? Well, check that off. So you got to have some type of strategy. So when we go in, we're armed first of all with knowledge of the location, of the events that happen. The people who own the property, the proprietors and homeowners, tell us the things that happen, tell us the significance of it, the timing, all that type of stuff. So we kind of go in and we set up our game plan from there, okay? So one of the things that we normally do is we go around and try to look for energy pockets, okay? We look for EMF, okay? Yep. Electromagnetic fields, electromagnetic frequencies. I've heard it referenced both ways. But essentially, most houses have Wi-Fi. And old buildings that may not have Wi-Fi have very old electrical systems. So they sort of leak energy, So the first thing we do, we go in with equipment. And Kevin, you use a K2 meter, correct?
Yeah, I use a K2, but I also have a Gauss meter.
The K2 meter is kind of it's come down a lot in price. You got one there?
Yeah, I got a couple of them right here.
Put it up there. People can see that. That's a K2 meter. that is a great piece of equipment to use because it actually will do two things for you. It'll actually give you readings of electromagnetic energy, so you can find that field.
So
As you can see, Chris's is all the way up into the yellow. Wants to go orange.
yeah,
We're inside the studio. There's
Right.
a lot
Exactly. There's a
between-
lot of electricity running through this place.
So
Absolutely.
yep.
But the second thing that's great for, in addition to finding levels of energy, and it's a meter, as Chris showed you, as the lights go up towards red, the energy field becomes greater. But the other thing is that we also use them in spirit communication, where if we believe we're talking to someone, we'll ask a spirit to come out and touch the meter or touch the box, or we try to keep our referencing very simple. We don't say, please touch the black K2 model number KX675 and see if the LEDs will light. If you're talking to a spirit possibly that was born in, say, 1700s,
They're going to be like,
1800s,
what?
just say the black box, or just
touch the black box with the candles inside.
the box in my hand with the lights. Keep it very simple.
It's also important for our viewers that are new to this that this is all theoretical. The K2 meter is actually for electricians to help find energy leaks within a home, trying to find wires, stuff like that. So it's theoretical in the paranormal field that they are actually reading paranormal activity.
Well, correct. And as to go further on what Kevin said is that there's two reasons why we do it. Number one, we want to find where the active areas are. If there's like wiring, if there's Wi-Fi, if there's something that's going to be causing readings that are high or interfere with what we're trying to do, we want to establish that baseline so we know where things are. So it's a great tool to go in there and kind of figure out the lay of the land on an electromagnetic level. So once you have that established, then the next thing you want to do is you want to set up and you want to start doing your investigation.
Right.
Okay. Now, the reason why that's so important, again, because if you are starting to communicate with the spirit, okay, and you feel like something's going on, you get that feeling like something's watching you or something's touching you or near you, whatever, different people have different experiences. A lot of times it's energy that you're feeling. Right. So the K2 meter is great at reading that energy. Another device that I use that's a little bit more sophisticated than that is called a melmeter. This is a melmeter. So it looks kind of like the cell phone from Saved by the Bell a little bit.
Put it on screen there.
But what's interesting is, see this little yellow thing in the top here? That's a temperature sensor. So temperature is another field that indicates the possibility of paranormal activity. So if you're sitting in an area that's at 60 degrees and you're having an experience, you believe, your EMF is going up, and then you see your temperature starting to fluctuate, that's a good indication, not necessarily that it is paranormal activity, but it's a good indication that something's going on. Like we can put these things on chairs and ask a spirit to go over and touch it or sit in the chair, and then we can watch the temperature go down or sometimes even go up. More normally goes down as you get these cold fields. So essentially, this is reading right now 3 milligauss, which again, this studio is just latent with
which is about what this was reading when I had it on.
Right, sending out all kinds of cell phone signals and EMF and all kinds of
Now,
stuff.
that would be another one when you're going out.
Right.
Whenever we go out, I always make sure to put my cell phone on airport mode.
Yes.
Because if your phone starts searching for signals and stuff, it could throw your meters out of whack, too.
Yep.
You can actually make the K2 meter turn on, register on and off by touching your cell phone, turning it on and off. I've seen it.
Yes.
I did an extra one, on, off, and it'll spike back and forth.
Yeah.
Or if you got a text message coming in or something.
Yeah.
So that's the other reason why I don't really like to use the apps and stuff on the cell phones, because they are going to interfere slightly with some of the readings. So again, this is a melmeter. You can get these on Ghost Hunter stores. Again, it reads the temperature through this device here, and it also reads the level of EMF. But what's also nice about this is what we call a REM mel. And it's got a little kickstand here in the back. You press these two buttons in. Now what's going to happen is you're starting to create, I don't know if you can see the lights. Now I almost have a K2 meter. But also I've got this sensor up here that senses a field. So if you put this in a dark hallway, and I've seen this before, staring down a long dark hallway, and we stick that there and ask a spirit or something to come up and touch it, and all of a sudden
Yep.
it goes like that.
So, yeah,
So-
it's got the kinetic activity that can pick up.
Right.
One thing we can also say is these things do tend to change. The K2 and the millimeter with all the readings, it change as you're moving. So a lot of times we'll actually set these down.
You get kind of like a
Yeah.
base
Yep.
reading.
We do this a
Yes.
lot at
Yeah.
Rucker Mansions when we're in there. We'll set that
yeah.
in one of the bedrooms or whatever on a
And
bed.
leave it.
We'll go out in the other room and just kind of peer in, and you'll see these things just going nuts.
Oh yeah.
So that's what's really nice about this thing. Again, walking around, establishing a baseline where things kind of are, because you're walking around. Typically, it's dark, and these add a little bit of black light to help you, kind of figure out backlight, finding where you are. But essentially, again, you're looking for pockets of EMF. You're looking for temperature fluctuations, and again, based after you do your whole baseline. You could walk through a room and basically know there's a draft in this area over here, and you walk through there and the temperature drops.
Right.
So these are things you need to really kind of know before you start going off of the deep end, believing that what you are getting is paranormal evidence. Which, I mean, we don't want to take that away from you, but, realistically.
As a new paranormal investigator, that millimeter that Rich is holding is really for more advanced people. That's something that you would put a lot of money into to buy that.
Yes.
The K2 meter it's starting to come down in price. It's around $60. There are some knockoffs out there for around like $20-25.
Yeah.
A lot of people say stay away from the knockoffs, but I'm seeing that they're still within
Pretty right in
5
that range.
milligauss
Yeah.
of being the same. And even if you're going through a building and you have a level, as long as you have that level, you know what your spikes are. So they still work. They're just not as accurate as an actual K2 meter from K2 Enterprise.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Like these ones here are actual K2
Yep.
From Camillus.
Yep.
And I don't remember where I got them. I ordered them online, but I think each of them were only about $25 to $35.
Yep.
For an
There's
actual one. So
There are cheaper ones out there. The Gauss meters are actually some of the cheaper ones. They're right around $15-20.
yeah. But if I'm going to spend 15 on that, I'd spend 25, 35
Yep.
and just at least
But it's to each their own.
Yes.
I mean, you're just getting into it. You might not want to go right into EMF detection. If you want to get into audio first, I mean, you could use a voice recorder that's pretty cheap,
Yes.
and you can get Class A EVPs pretty easily.
Well, I'll tell you, I got this one, and it's a tiny little recorder, and I don't think I paid maybe $20 for it.
Yep.
Not like a major name brand or anything, but I'll tell you, this thing picks up everything.
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
I mean, the tiniest little sound that you never heard, that thing is picking up.
Yeah, the microphones are pretty sensitive on those.
Yeah.
To finish off the discussion of EMF, these millimeters have come down considerably in price also. Get my
On the screen, Rich.
Yeah, little problems. I'm screen challenged there. They've come down quite a bit in price. You can get them for be anywhere from like $99 to $159 if you're good with eBay and places like that. So another great tool to have. So moving on to audio, there's a couple different ways to do audio, and this is what I see most beginner paranormal people do is they come and they try to do audio. They're asking questions. They're engaged. So I really recommend that people, when they go on investigations for the very first time or so, to really focus a lot on the audio and see if you can capture things. Now, you can use a device as simple. Chris, hold that up again if you don't mind.
Okay.
Something very simple as that. It's small. It sits right in your coat pocket.
Yeah.
And normally what we do with that is how you ask your questions and the time that you wait before you ask your next question are important. So, for instance, if I was in a room and I had that device and I sat down on a table and I want to basically ask a question, the first thing I would say is, this is an audio session. The time is 7:23. I'm in Rucker Mansion. I'm in the back bedroom. Identify the time and identify the location and identify who is with you, okay? Because there's some significance as you go back and forth. Because I remember Pete and I did this one time. Pete said, remember that time this thing happened when you and I did that one thing? And I'm like, I probably should have logged my data better because I would have remembered that
Yeah.
each session with him.
I've made that few mistakes a few times already.
Yeah.
You kind of get excited, you're there, you hit record, and then you
Right.
forget to actually do your log ahead of
Yep.
time. And then we go back to listen to it, and we're like, oh, where was that from?
Exactly. I've got a whole bunch of them. I'm like, where's it? I'm listening to it. I caught something. I'm like, where's this from? I want to tell everybody. They're say, where'd you get that one? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no noticeable noises or anything in the background. It's just me and another investigator that I probably investigated numerous places with. So,
Right.
Yeah.
so when you do your question, this is very, very important. So when you do your questioning, ask a question. Keep the question simple. Okay. Like I said before, don't refer to Please talk to my audio recorder. Go on with the impression that you're talking to someone who's never seen this type of technology.
Exactly.
Okay.
Ignore it's even there.
Right.
Right.
You're talking to somebody in that building.
Kind of
Right.
like
Yeah.
just a conversation.
Right. Just ask your questions. There's a lot of great questions you can ask. You can ask, do you know my name? Do you need help? Is there anyone here with me? There's a whole gambit of different questions. But when you ask a question, pause. Pause. Give yourself like 10 seconds or so. Count to 10 Mississippis. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I just thought of Ross. Did you see that episode of Friends when Ross was in the tanning booth? Count to 5 and turn around. 5 Mississippi, 4, and it sprays him in the face. He goes, what happened? He goes, I counted to 5. He goes, I counted to 5 Mississippis. He goes, who said anything about Mississippis? They count to 5. Anyways.
Now, while you're counting to 5 Mississippi, don't do it out loud.
Right. And so pause and then wait. Okay. Then if you're starting to feel something's like I've done many audio sessions where, oh crap, it's getting really cold. Note that. Say it's getting really cold right about now. Now, say you're doing a session, and I picked this up from Pete. Pete's got some pretty good things I'm going to share with you tonight on how he does his audio. So you do a session, and you hear something, okay, that you don't know what it is. Say check audio, okay? That's a remark. If you're flying through your thing and you hear check audio, like, oops, hold on a second. Let me go back and take a closer look at why I said that. I heard something, basically. And it may be nothing, but still, it's check audio. Or if you hear something, boom, boom, boom. It's like, it's like Joe, walking down the hallway. Say, that's Joe walking down the hallway. Yeah. Just so when you go back in case you forgot, you can't say, I heard, ghost steps coming at me,
Yep.
So, these simple things will help you, kind of hone in on what you're listening to. Okay.
Well, not only that, it'll cut down on your time when you're listening back.
Correct.
That is such a time eater. You
It
have
is.
to listen to all this audio all over again. So
Yeah.
if you're doing, a 3-hour audio session, you have to listen back to 3 hours.
Yes.
So
And it takes a lot longer than 3 hours to listen to it.
So I mean, it's going to cut down on that because you're like, okay, this is the part where I heard them walk in the building, so I don't need to get into that. I don't need to listen closer.
Yep.
To bump that audio up.
Correct. Because remember, everything you do, you have to take it back and listen to it with headphones on. Okay. Now, somebody told me, Kevin, I don't know if this is correct or not. Somebody told me don't use noise canceling headphones when you're listening to your audio back. Do you think that interferes with? Because sometimes the stuff that you get is very, very faint. You think it interferes with anything, or just
Noise canceling?
yeah?
Well, to me, I prefer noise canceling because, my hearing's bad enough. So any kind of outside noise when I'm trying to listen in is a distraction to me. Because the way my mind works with my hearing loss is I have to focus on what I'm hearing. So if anything interferes with something I'm trying to listen closely to, then it's going to break my concentration off it, and I can't do it. So to me, I think noise canceling headphones are actually very important.
Okay. Well, you do understand with noise canceling that it's actually isn't it actually sending out waves to basically block other noise out. It's not just like tight cuffs around your ears, but it's actually.
Oh, well, I'm not that rich, so I have tight cups around my ears.
All right.
No,
The noise canceling
yeah.
technology, basically, I think it uses other waves or frequencies to basically cancel out
Saying that, I can see that as because
An interference.
that whispers and stuff like that are
Right.
a higher frequency, and
Right.
that's the stuff that noise canceling technology actually hones in on to cancel out. So yeah, saying that, I would agree with that.
Okay. So again, these are some really good tips. Trust me. We're telling you this stuff free of charge on a show where you're sitting on the couch listening, or we went out in the field and made many, many mistakes and had to pick up this stuff along the way.
Yeah.
This is years of experience that we're giving to you in an hour episode. So
We're trying to make you better than us, okay? So another technique when it comes to audio recorders, which I thought is really cool, and I give this credit to Pete. If you got the time and the patience, is he took an audio recorder and he recorded the session, just asking questions. Then he loops it. So what he'll do is he'll turn this on, put it up in a room that he's not even in, okay? He'll go down the hallway and work in a different room. And the audio recorder will sit there and say, "What is your name?" And he'll put another one. He's got one that's playing, asking the questions, and another one that's recording. So 2 audio recorders. And he got some of the most incredible EVPs off of that thing. Though some of the ones that we have in our presentation from Rucker, he got that way. It's like, "What is your name?" You hear, "Johnny," stuff like that. So it was perfect because now you can do multiple audio sessions with only physically being in one room. Buying a few of those smaller audio recorders, put one for playback, repeating back what you said,
Right.
put it on loop, and another one just basically recording. And you'd be surprised, some of the stuff you can pick up. It's a lot more work because you got to spend the time basically setting it up where you're asking questions. Then you got to review everything afterwards. But it's another good way, and I've seen it work, which is really kind of cool. And I thought to myself, God, that's genius. He got EVPs on the first floor himself, then he had something running on the second floor, which got even more EVPs.
Right.
And it was asking, sometimes you'll get an answer up on the second floor audio recorder for a question you asked down on the first floor. I mean, it's really kind of strange how this paranormal thing works.
And you brought up another really good point, is when you're asking questions, open-ended questions. Try and stay away from yes and no, because you can make yes and no out of a lot of things. It could be somebody just slightly moves their foot on the ground, and that little shuffle can come over as like, yes.
Yeah. That's the hard part, too, is sometimes you listen and you want to hear stuff.
Yeah.
So
That's matrixing.
Yes.
That's another good point when you're listening back. Don't just sit there and listen over and over and over again. Your brain wants to hear something, and if you just listen to the same part over and over and over, eventually you're going to start to hear what you want to hear.
That's true.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe it. I've seen it. I'm guilty of it myself. Let's circle back to the to the millimeter and to the K2. Okay. So you're doing an audio session. Here's another great way to continue an audio session on. Set up the K2, set up the millimeter with the REM pod activating, and when you're asking questions, ask the spirit or entity or whatever it is to reach out and touch the box. Be descriptive. Touch the box that's in my hand or touch the box that's on the floor. Or, but don't be like, don't give it, manufacturing numbers and, the title of it's irrelevant. Just say, touch the box with the lights on it. And sometimes we've done sessions where we had an audio session with the audio recorder running, asking the spirit to communicate with us through the K2s, asking to reach out, and if the answer to the question is, yes, you built a house here, make the lights glow green. You can do the yes and no questions, but again, understand what Kevin's point is that, yes, no, there's a quick, short answer, and that could sound like a creak in the floor or anything like that. So ask a little bit more intelligent questions, but try to get this piece of equipment and the K2 involved in the audio session. Basically, it'll enhance your basic interaction with any type of spirit that's there. Okay?
And then once they actually go off, you want to say, "Oh, look, they lit it up." So that way you actually have it on your video or your audio recording as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's a couple other things that we've done. This goes a little bit step beyond the entry level into a little bit more of the novice level. One of the things we learned during audio sessions is spirits sometimes need energy to manifest. Okay, manifest doesn't necessarily mean to show thyself, but to answer a question, to tap you on the shoulder, whatever it is. Okay, the definitions are vast. So what we done is we use these EM pumps. Okay, EM pumps is nothing more than a little black box. Okay, you put a small battery in it, typically a 9-volt, and you just press it, turn it on. Now, what this thing does, it's like a little motor, a little like DC motor that just creates an energy field. Okay, so it's almost sometimes you can look at it like if there's a moth and it's pitch black, the moth, and there's a candle, the moth is going to go towards the candle. You know, just like a spirit. If it's true, based on some of our assessments that they're attracted to energy and need energy to do things, they'll go to that energy source. Okay, this will also help out with what we call battery drain. A lot of times when we've done investigations, we've loaded these nice audio recorders with expensive batteries to do a session, and 5 minutes in, it's like, my batteries are dead, you know?
Yep.
So the EM pump can also act as a sacrificial battery. So it doesn't have to necessarily take the juice of the battery. It can go to the EM pump and use that energy field.
Right.
However, another novice tip, keep your equipment away from said EM pump. Like, you know, anything that's like K2s and things, space them out because, number one, it's going to interfere. And if you get them too close to a power source like that, who knows what it could do. Okay? Right. So keep them apart. Okay? And then also keep your EM pump a distance away from your audio device. So some of them you'll hear a hum. And sometimes if you got a really good audio recorder, like a Tascam or something, you'll catch that hum. Okay? Yep. So again, we're trying to bring something into this audio session. Okay? So now we've established that energy has something to do with it. How we can do our questions. Okay? Now, we have our audio recorders loaded up with hopefully all kinds of conversations with ghosts, right? We're excited. We're going to go home. We're going to do this, right? We're going to, you know,
Before we go any farther, I just want to say, if there's anybody from a battery company, Energizer, Duracell, if you want us to be if you want to be a sponsor, I mean, we will put your patch on all of our, like, shirts and stuff. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Our skibbies, too. Our skibbies, too.
I'll get a tattoo.
So this is my audio recorder. This is a Tascam. It's a little bit more expensive one, but it does a great job. I mean, you can hear a pin drop 3 rooms away in this thing. And that's not necessarily always a good thing.
Right.
You know, if you got a lot of investigators moving around doing stuff. But again, what's great about these is, you know, everything records onto an SD card. You can stick the SD card, it's a full size, right into your computer. So you're listening through your Mac or, you know, your PC, whatever, you know, float your boat.
Yep.
So you capture some stuff. Now you want to take that clip, right? You want to take like maybe a 20-second, 15-second slice of that, you know, so you can like play the clip for people, like presentations or friends. So there's a software we used to use called Audacity, okay? Audacity is free. Just be careful. Every time you go on the internet to download something free, you always got to be concerned about make sure you're on the right link and you're not downloading something that you shouldn't.
Right.
But
just like in the paranormal field, I mean, you play with the wrong thing, you might get a demon. So
yep. But Audacity is great because Audacity will let you play the files through it, and then once you basically find something you like, you can go in and you can put a marker where it begins and marker where it ends, and take that clip and save it as a typical audio file.
I'm so glad that they went to SD cards and all that. My first recorder, oh my God, had to plug in a mic.
Was it reel to reel? You had to bring it when it's like this big?
It was just a regular, like, it had like a...
Well, hold on. Can you say that again? Run the tapes back.
It had a built-in drive in it, but there's no way to, like, take it out. So I'd actually have to plug in a headphone jack into a mic jack and actually play it and record it into the computer.
Oh.
I mean, I got a lot of good audio from that.
It's just a lot of work.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different than using like a DV, like a mini DV camera.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh yeah, look at it's on this little tape. Oh, now I got to play it all back so I can record it into the computer.
Oh God, no! I would give up.
I
would
remember
quit.
those days.
Not into that. So, continuing on. Okay, so great. You've done some audio session. You got some stuff. You're like, this is really cool. What do I do now? I want more. I want to basically have more conversations. I want to do some really cool stuff. Well, the next step, at least for me, was to get into what we call spirit communication. And we did that not with like the metaphysical stuff, nothing weird, you know, but we use these. These are called spirit
Get
boxes.
it on the camera. Stop handing it to Chris.
Okay, so this way, camera. That way, bad. Bad.
Put it in front of your face. If you want to show the people,
so
put it in front of your
it's too
face.
small. Okay. This is an SB7 This is my first spirit box. This is an SB7. I love this little thing because, God, it's so, I mean, it's just so small. You know, so cute. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, I'm not really sure I'm going to be jamming a white snake on it, but, yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is. The only reason why I like this is the size, but also, thank God, it's got an output where you can plug in a big speaker.
Yeah.
I've actually used these at public events, and I have a great big giant speaker I plug it to, and everyone can hear it. So, but what's great about this is pretty much a glorified AM/FM radio. So, why is it glorified? I mean, why? Well, first of all, it does this really cool thing where it loops. Okay, it starts at station 1 all the way to the end of the band and back to station 1, and just continuously goes through it. Okay, it does it in FM, it does it in AM. It can do it forward, and it can do it backwards. Huh? Mm-hmm. But it gets even better than this, right? You can set the frequency of how long you want to stop on each station. Okay, so
Pete
let's
said
say
it's not always about the size.
it's always about the size. It's always about the size. Okay, we want to do a size comparison. This is my new one. All right, that's the new one. See, little brother, big brother. So, but what's cool about this again is that you can set the sampling. So, how much time do you want to spend on each station? Okay, the longer you spend the sampling time on a station, the more you're going to hear the DJ, the song, and it's going to be more noise that you're going to have to decipher.
Right.
Now you can do super fast where it's just like, you know, it's just, you're hearing nothing, okay? So we try to basically go somewheres in between, you know, where we can get a little sample of something on the radio station to make sure we know it's going through, okay? Right. Now, I just showed you a bigger one. And actually, what this is this is 2 of the SB7s built into one box. There's 2 of them in here, pretty much.
Yep.
So, again, it's AM and FM, and I can run 2 radios at the same time. I can go one going forward, one going backwards, and it gets really messy and really confusing. Yeah. And if there's a spirit out there that can figure out how to use this damn thing,
I've been trying to figure out the because I got one. And trying to figure that out. It's like, why would you have 2 running separate?
You got to figure out how to balance it.
Yeah.
The theory behind it is not actually using the radio. It's using the white noise from the radio to manifest a voice for itself. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's right. You're not hearing the disc jockey's voice formulate the words that you want to hear. You're actually hearing somebody else's voice that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
No, like he was saying, there were the 2 bands, and trying to do both together just seems like it seems confusing.
The white noise.
Yeah.
Now, there's some sampling you need to do with this. Like, for instance, I played around with this. I started doing a lot of stuff in AM. I've never really got a lot in the AM band. Most of the stuff I've gotten is in FM. So Pete does a lot of his stuff in AM. I do a lot of my stuff in FM. So you got to play around with it a few times. Try different sampling rates. I actually run a lot of times AM and FM at the same time. It's confusing noise, but so essentially how this works is, or some of the theories behind it is that, you know, again, like Kevin said, you got white noise going on, but you've also turned this on. It's an energy source, okay? And essentially, I mean, how do radios work? I mean, radios work by, you know, receiving waves of information that are tuned to. So a carrier frequency, if you will. So is that carrier, can spirits jump onto that carrier frequency? I don't know. Is it just the white noise that they hear that they can interject? I don't know. So there's a bunch of different theories. However, I know that I've got some really good stuff with this, okay? Now, these spirit boxes have sort of evolved now, and how funny, Chris and I have the same one. You didn't hear that. This is kind of the new one here. Look at that, huh? Mm-hmm. Let's see. I thought it said Xbox when you turn it on. It talks. It's like S-Box.
Yes.
Ready. Here, ready?
Yeah, a little echo there. Echo.
So what's kind of cool about this one that the other ones don't have is you can put an SD card in here. So you can record everything onto the SD card. The spirit boxes don't. You have to bring an audio recorder with you with an SD card. This one records it all right on there.
It does, but one thing I found with it is usually when you use your own recorder, you're hearing yourself ask the questions and everything. And what that's recording is just what's coming from the box itself.
Yeah.
But you don't hear yourself asking the questions.
So you don't have the context. Of
Yeah.
it.
Right.
So
You need to
Yeah.
hear the question in
And
order
I-
to get the
like
understand what the answer
I've
is.
recorded with it, and you can pick up stuff, but it's hard to get, like you said, in that context of what was that answer, a
Yeah.
question to.
Yeah, I just like a camera with 2 SD cards,
Yeah.
duplicating. I would probably do the same thing and let it record,
Yes.
and then I would be recording with another audio recorder. So
Yeah, that's why I always had my little audio recorder going as well, so you can hear the questions.
okay, so all right, Chris. So we have one of these. We're doing our session, right? We're at, first thing you want to do, just like we did without him, is ask the sensible questions, relevant questions, and then basically every time you hear something you think is significant, say check audio.
Right.
Check audio is a great way as identifier, like a marker on that point in time. Okay, so you're doing your session. All right. Again, the EM pumps are a great recommendation because again, it attracts energy field, and then essentially what this is going, you're going to hear a lot of static. You're going to hear a lot of scanning, weird noises, and sometimes if you're doing a group event or like public investigation, we have people think that they hear things. Like you'll ask a question, and what is your name? And say Jane, and everybody says, "Oh my God, is it Jane? Oh my God!" Then you go back and listen to it; it didn't say Jane at all.
No.
So you have to make sure. If they think it's Jane, great for them. Let them do the thing. But I don't confirm any of it until I go back and listen to it for myself, unless I clearly hear it, myself.
Yes.
But again, these are fun because they can interact, and there's a couple new things that we've done with these that we learned. So let's tie the metaphysical field into this because this is still tech, fringe, stuff like that.
Yes.
So a psychic medium we know who has what's called a Frank box uses a technique where he asks for a spirit technician. He
Yes.
calls it technician assist. Okay. And I've sat on sessions with him when he's talking to spirit technician. I've heard this technician come through. I believe it was a boy that would respond to him. And that's kind of his connection, opens the connection to the next realm so that whoever he's trying to reach and talk to can communicate. It's like, hey, guys, so you got a phone call, that kind of thing. So we've tried it a few times, and a few times we didn't really get anything. Of course, none of us are psychic mediums. So I think a psychic medium is kind of it's like a tuner. You're
Right.
tuned to a different frequency if you're a psychic medium. But we've asked that, and we've heard, yes, like spirit technician assist. Can we have a spirit technician? Yes. And then we've asked questions, and we've gotten better answers. So we're still kind of on the fence if that works, but we're still trying it. Again, in the paranormal field, keep trying something. Just don't dismiss it because it didn't give you the results first, second, third time.
Right.
Because, my God, I've investigated for years, and I've gone and done locations where people told me that demons are flying around and, the car got lifted off the ground and, set up on the roof. And I go in there. I'm there 6 hours, nothing. Not a thing.
Yeah.
I hear a dog bark, and that's it. So you've got to be so patient, okay? And with the audio stuff, a lot of times is don't show a lot of emotion. Don't challenge things. Just ask questions. Remain calm. Ask questions, okay? If you have to be stern because you think you may be speaking with something that is more on the negative side, that's fine. But don't challenge, okay? Never challenge anything. You don't know what you're talking to. Just don't do it.
Right.
I've seen people get on there like, oh yeah, I'm gonna throw you through the window if I find.
Oh.
It's like, dude, you're
luck.
Yeah.
come on. No
Not cool.
no altercations. Just do your thing. We've had some bad stuff come through, and we're just like, okay, we're turning it off now. Have a nice night. Click. So again, just keep your a level head. And if you do hear something, safety is important. Because normally you're doing these things in a dark room or a dark house or a dark factory or someplace. Don't get freaked out and go running out the door, okay? Because you're going to trip. You're going to run into something.
Yep.
People have been impaled. People tripped, broke their face. I mean, just don't do it. Remain calm. Yep. Nothing's going to hurt you, okay? I've heard people shout at me through there, and I got actually threatened a few times. And it's just, okay, thank you. Remain calm. It's no big deal. You know what I'm saying? It's no big deal. So if someone came to me and said, Rich, I want to do this. I want to get into doing this paranormal investigating thing. let's go around the room, okay? Let's get an interaction
Well,
from.
before we go on to that, you mentioned the Frank's box.
Yes.
Just for our viewers, the Frank's box is basically the first ever spirit box. I can't remember the guy's last name.
Frank something, I think.
Yeah, it was Frank. He, he created this after his daughter passed away, and it was a type of spirit communication. It basically like what we have now, the spirit boxes. And that's what it was, like a couple of old radios inside a wooden box.
Yeah.
And a couple of tubes, and that's what the Frank's box is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more discrete components
Yeah.
than going into the digital. This is all digital.
Yep.
So, it is kind of cool. It has a different sound to it. It's all dials and stuff like that.
Well,
that
it's
you're
all
tuning.
analog, so the
Right.
analog gives it such a different sound.
It gives it a
does.
nice,
That warm.
sound.
Yes.
But at the same time, it also creates a nice atmosphere if
Yeah.
you're doing an event type of thing.
But analog will bring a lot more frequencies too than the digital can. So
I can tell you that. I've listened to Led Zeppelin on the album in my basement. Then I've listened to it on CDs. It sounds much better, older, warmer
Yeah.
when it's on,
Yeah.
I love
on the
my
album.
vinyl.
there's so many more frequencies that the
Vinyl's,
analog will pick up.
Vinyl's a great way to listen to music. So,
The safe word is kinky pants. That's what
Kinky
Pete
pants.
said.
I thought it was
Kinky
supposed to be
pants?
pineapple.
Pineapple.
Pineapple?
I don't know. It's from Pete. He said kinky
no,
pants. He
pineapple's
changed it.
pineapple's the word that you say
Yeah.
if you pass on. If
Right.
we're out doing a session and you want to speak with us.
You're not going to
Pineapple.
pass on during a session. Let's break that up. Comma.
Okay.
If you pass on,
Comma.
and then during a session, you
And-
say pineapple.
Another important thing
You're not going to get hurt. You're going to be fine. Don't run away screaming. But if you die during a session, say pineapple.
okay, pineapple. One thing I can tell you is never do this stuff in the privacy of your own home.
No.
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 Well, once you open up that communication, it's going to be
It-
there.
and it's
They
tempting,
know-
though.
Yeah.
They know that they can talk to you, and that's
But it is
whole
tempting,
idea.
especially when you first get into it, because you know you
Yeah.
go and you buy all this cool equipment,
Exactly.
and you want to learn to use it, and you want to test it out. But at the same time,
Yeah.
it's all a matter of preference.
so we just go to our in-laws' house and do it there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you like your in-laws or not?
I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Well, the other thing is we tell people when we investigate their home or their business even, we tell them, oh, that's really cool. I should get one of those and do it here. I was like, nah, you
No.
probably shouldn't. Because if they know that you can talk to them, they're going to want to talk to you all the time.
Right.
Yes.
And if you're getting freaked out by the things that are going on now, imagine if they're like, it's like, Jim, hey, Jim, are you there? Jim, it's me. Can you see me? Jim, hey, Jim, you know?
Right.
I would just basically say, let us come and do it, and we leave. Many times when we do our things, the activity stokes up for a little bit after we leave, but then it usually goes back down.
When they realize
You
that no
have-
one there can communicate those.
You have to think of spirits as toddlers. Okay? Because once you start giving them any kind of
Attention.
attention to it, it just, that's it. And they're going to keep poking you. And just like a toddler, if you're not paying attention,
They're gonna poke
eventually
harder.
They're going to smack you.
Yep.
Yes.
And it's like,
Or they're
hey,
gonna
why
get
are
mad.
you hitting me?
Yeah.
Well, that's the one you're going to feel is a smack, and that's when people are like, there's a demon in my house. Or as
No,
we
there's
said
no
before,
demon in your house.
the big D word.
9 out of 10 times when I get a call for investigation, the word demon comes up. I just tell people, stop watching the paranormal TV shows. They're entertainment. Is some of this stuff in there legit? Of course it is. But again, it's entertainment. Okay?
Yep.
The chance of you coming across anything negative like that realm is very rare unless you've been doing some things that you're not like telling me.
Right.
Yes.
We're not on, we're not good friends here if you're lying to me here. So, but anyways,
If you got altars set up in the basement,
Right.
you might want to tell me ahead of time.
so
Yeah.
if you want to get a spirit box, I can tell you there's a couple places. Now, there's a few places online you can buy your stuff from. There's Ghost Outlet. I bought some stuff from them. There's the Ghost Hunter store. I bought some stuff from them.
think
I
I-
bought some stuff on eBay. And then Ghost Stop is another
Ghost
place.
Stop, yeah.
that
That's where I
bought some
got
stuff.
a lot of the stuff I
Right.
have. I got it through Ghost Stop.
This is, I think this is pretty much, this device here is pretty much Ghost Stop.
Yes.
This is their thing.
Yes.
They actually come up with some pretty cool stuff. They actually have a audio recorder. The thing is like a watch, like an Apple Watch that you can use,
I saw that.
which
Yes.
is kind of cool. So
Yep.
if you want to get into doing it, this would be a great device. This is been updated. You know, it's got a lot of cool things. A little more on the digital side of things. But honestly, if you can pick one of these up here, I'm going to show it to you again. If you can get one of these at a really good price, these are pretty much has been the most consistent performer for me.
Has it?
And you can get these things, I still think, probably most reasonable. And they have upgraded these things to a little bit. I think they have a few other features on them, but you're going to need headphones because you can barely hear anything out of that speaker.
Okay.
Or you're going to need an external speaker. I don't like using the headphones. I want to hear things around me.
Yes.
So I would just have an external speaker. You can get those speakers. I mean, I bought like a JBL one like that big, and just it's like a Bluetooth thing, but you can also plug it in.
Yep.
And with a cord. So yeah, that works. That's what I would recommend.
JBL even makes a smaller like backpack, you know, ones with a clip.
Sure.
That you can do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, and they sound pretty good.
Yep.
You know, even for just a small speaker, but it's a lot better than what these usually produce.
And the Spirit Box gives you the ability to hear back. If you do audio sessions without one, most of the stuff you're not going to hear until you listen to your audio recorder. But this gives you the ability to hear somebody say something to you.
Right.
And then as far as an audio recorder, Chris, throw that one up on there again. That's actually kind of cool. Is that pretty inexpensive?
This I want to say this particular one I think I got on Amazon, and I don't think I paid more than $15 for.
That's all you need, right there.
It wasn't anything major. It was just something I was looking to get because I bought a few different pieces at the time, and you know it works very well. It was a lot more sensitive than I ever thought it would be.
Yeah.
You know, we were hearing people talking and walking like 3-4 rooms over. You know, I had this sitting by one of the spirit boxes, and I could still hear people in the other rooms talking.
Yep. I mean, that's pretty
where
much
I
what you
never
need.
heard them talking when we were in there, but that picked them up.
Yep.
So
There are paranormal investigators actually going all the way back to reel, as you said before.
Oh yeah. Basically,
yeah.
when they listen to they cassette recorders and stuff like that,
Yep.
and bigger reel. Yeah. If you watch some of the old stuff, documentaries on paranormal, they actually have the reel-to-reel machines in there.
Yep.
They're running while they're doing the recording, their
Well, I mean,
sessions.
why wouldn't you go back? I mean, that was the very first EVP ever captured was on reel-to-reel, and that was in 1959 with Frederick Jurgensen. He was out in the field just recording bird sounds because he was a film producer.
You know,
And when he came back and listened back to it, he heard family members talking to him. Family members that had passed like years before.
Wow.
Interesting. Usually, the other thing that I tell people, and I started doing a lot of this, when I'm done with my session, I close the session out.
Yes.
I always do. The session is closed. Nothing, and a lot of times you can even make some precursors when you basically start your audio session. Nothing negative is allowed to come through to speak with me. You can state those things to begin with. I've seen a lot of people do that too as well. And then when it ends, they said this session is ended. You know, we're no longer going to be communicating. So you're kind of establishing the rules and the boundaries, if you will,
Right.
yourself. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. When we leave an investigation, we say a few things. So basically, nothing can follow us home. You'll stay
Right.
here. I mean, we basically, does it work? I don't know. I mean,
peace of mind sometimes.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
just having that peace of mind when you're leaving.
being in control of the situation is pretty much it.
Yeah.
So when I go to an investigation, I always bring, obviously, a flashlight, okay? But I always have a spirit box. Always have a spirit box.
Yeah.
I've got like 3 of them with me, but you don't necessarily need 3. I just in case I toy around and see which ones get me a little bit better results. But a spirit box, my Tascam audio recorder, always. I mean, this thing's with me all the time. I would not leave home, do an investigation without an audio recorder, period.
Right.
I've gone without a spirit box, but I will not do it without an audio recorder. And a Melmeter. Now, one other little quick piece of equipment I'm going to show you. This thing is actually called a REM pod. This is actually pretty cool. You see the lights and hear the little noises?
Yep.
So this is just like the Mel meter or Mel pod of it. But what's nice about this is that, I don't know, it actually also determines temperature. You can set a temperature range. So if the temperature fluctuates a certain amount, it'll give you an indicator. But it's very sensitive. I mean, we did this at Rucker Mansion. You walk by it, and a breeze goes by, and it changes the temperature.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you can also change the sensitivity on this to where all the lights come from all sides or just from the front or back. There's a bunch of different things.
Yep.
And it just takes one 9-volt battery. Now,
I think
why?
that's my favorite thing about that REM pod is when you can come from any angle, and it basically light up which way that's coming from.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like, where are you? Ha ha! You're over there.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the, like, you know, those are a little more on the expensive side.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely.
and I was looking for something a little more affordable that would do the same thing. That's why I made my own.
Well, there's something
You
to
know.
be said to making your own stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, which
So-
is kind of cool. So yeah, throw that up
You know,
there. Let's see that. I haven't actually
I
seen
mean,
this yet. So
it's pretty much the exact same thing.
Yep.
Takes a
Higher.
9-volt battery,
Lift it higher. There you go.
and it does the same thing. Oh, this way.
In your face.
So, you know, it creates the same field, you know,
Yeah.
around it. And as you touch it and you get closer to the antenna, it'll set the lights off and everything.
why
so-
don't you build it? This is nothing more than like a black tube. I mean, you can see it's all threaded. This is stuff that you can buy
Yeah.
at like
Yeah.
Home Depot. You could basically buy that and get this is just like a board.
Yeah.
I mean, you could hobby board. You could make that. You could pretty
Oh, yeah.
much make that if you wanted
And-
to.
Chris, you also created something for
Yes.
children too.
Yes.
We
right?
did.
Yep.
That's over at
Vicky's got that
Vicky.
one.
Yep.
And what it is, it's the exact same thing, the same components, but she is housed in a metal frame. And I actually soldered and wired the antenna into the frame. So the entire metal frame is the antenna, and when anything goes near it, it sets the lights off.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. Now
So-
tell people why this would be some significant for an investigation.
Well, my thought is you know, sometimes some of the equipment, big black box or this or that, might be a little intimidating, maybe
Yeah.
towards a younger, you know, spirit child. This is a lot less intimidating.
But it's a toy.
You know, but because
too.
it's a toy,
Yeah.
so they could say touch the toy, and you can
Yeah.
specify just the toy. Touch the doll.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird
know.
when people are doing paranormal investigating 20 years from now and trying to speak with child spirits that had iPads and Xbox and stuff. I mean, you bring something like that, they're like, what the hell?
I have
mean,
yeah.
Angry
Plus-
Birds up here on
Right.
the pad if you want to try and.
It's going to be a
Right.
whole different Q&A. But
Plus, we found it, and it kind of was cool looking and a little
Yeah.
creepy at
Yeah.
the same
Yep.
time.
But those
you
are
know,
the
so-
dolls.
Yeah.
If you think you're communicating with a spirit, child spirit, like
Yeah.
at what do you call it, the Hubbard House, the
Yeah.
3rd floor, dolls everywhere.
Right.
You know, and we may think it's old and creepy, but to the spirit itself, it may look completely different to them. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how they grew up.
You know, you go
Exactly.
near it in your
It's
hands.
familiar.
Yes. You know, where hands light up and makes a little sounds.
Well, you can ask the spirit to come out and touch the doll, and say, "Listen, if you're scared, there's a doll. You can go over, touch the doll. You can talk to me through the doll. If you want to say, you know, whatever questions you want. If the question is, are you scared? Whatever, touch the doll. You know, think you can be creative with your questioning, but you can use it as a prop.
Yes.
And that's a lot of times we do the prop for validation, because a lot of times when we do the audio without a prop, we have to decipher what we think we heard, like through a spirit box. But if you then bring in an actual object and you can get that thing to light up in corresponding questions, then you've
Yes.
got something.
Yes.
Another piece of validating what's going on.
Well, the nice part with the audio recorder, too, is like your REM pod and these, they not only light up, but they make that noise.
Mhm.
And they're very distinct noise.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
when
for
you're.
the people that can hear them.
Aw, I'm sorry, Pevin.
But,
Um,
but
then
Chris, you remember when we did the Rucker Mansion up on the 2nd floor? I put this out in the hallway.
Yes.
And we were in that one room, and we were talking, asking something to come in the door, and I was like, "Brr," this thing would light right up, man. It was like, wow.
You know, you'd say.
It would
you
go
know,
away, back away, and all of a sudden it would go down. All the lights would off. We asked
Yeah.
to come back, and it was just almost like
Yeah.
like clockwork, like we staged it or something. It worked perfectly.
Yeah,
So
that was crazy.
yeah. So I mean, you got to have a light show. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You're in the dark. You got to have lights to do stuff. I mean, that's more effective than hearing a spooky voice on a spirit box.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, also, did you guys see that?
Yeah.
All the lights light up. I mean, that's
It's
cool
2
stuff.
in the morning and it's dead
Yeah.
silent and it's dark and there's no lights and you're
Mm-hmm.
sitting there, all of a sudden all these little lights go off.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
Coming up to the hour. Actually, I think we're at the hour.
Ah.
Do you were bringing up something before? Do you want to go on to that? Or?
Well, I was talking about the tools that we bring and what we use. Like I said before, just to recap quickly, the main thing is always have a flashlight, okay? always have a cell phone with you in case something happens, but my recommendation is to turn it on airplane mode.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, unless you have like you got someone at home, you got kids or something like that, then by all means you got to keep it on. You know
If you
what
have
I'm
it on, I would just suggest keeping it away
right, away from the
from-
equipment.
from like the K2s, from the
Exactly.
REM pods, from anything that could take an energy source and use it, because it will set them off.
Yeah.
So spirit box, I always bring the mel meter, which
I
fell
think
down
it
there
fell on the
someplace.
floor.
So, and this is my new favorite toy
K2.
because I can set
In
this
front
thing
of your
up at
face.
places and let it go off.
Yeah.
So if I think something's following me, I can put it behind me. I'm going down the hallway and do something. All of a sudden, the lights are all tripping. It's like, okay, I got a friend. Okay, so that
Yep.
your digital audio recorder is very important because you want to ask a lot of questions, and if something happens, you want to be able to capture that. You know, so again, something to detect EMF, something to communicate with, and something to record what you're doing, and light. You got to have light. That's for me. That's my.
This was the same as the K2. It's just a digital version. Except this one also has temperature in it.
But you can buy a lot of this stuff
And
on
these-
eBay
yes.
cheap. I mean, people are building these things, and
Yes.
like you
Oh,
did,
yeah.
they built it. I mean, I bought my EM pumps. I bought off some paranormal investigator out in the Rocky Mountains someplace. Rocky Mountain Param, something.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain
Now-
was in there somewheres in description. I bought 2 of them. They lasted for about 2.5 years. One of them finally went. But again, I only paid like $11 or $12 for them. So you get.
Well,
what
that's
you
the
pay
thing.
for.
Like, we built these, like the REM pods. I'm not sure what they're going for right now. Like there's different versions of them now, I've noticed, but like that one I think are going for close to 100,
Yeah.
about 100 or so. The components that I used to build this, the actual component and everything, was $17 online.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Now the doll was like what, $3?
the doll
at
I
the
actually
thrift
found.
store?
Yeah. We were just walking through a thrift store and I saw that up there and we just ran to it. I'm like, I gotta have it. So I got $20 vested. And
So so then essentially, I know you're new to the paranormal investigating yourself, but what tools have you used, or what essentially would you bring with you if you're doing an investigation?
for me,
For you.
essential, definitely the K2. The spirit boxes I'm still learning with, so I don't know if I would trust it on my own yet. But definitely the recorder, audio recorder. For me, I'm a video guy. I like bringing my cameras.
Yeah.
If you can capture video evidence, that's
I got a small one, and it's actually infrared,
okay. Yeah.
so
See the-
it doesn't need any light, and it's got the red infrared lights.
Yep. The IR lights in the front.
IR
yeah.
lights. This one I didn't pay a lot for. I think I paid like $60, $70 for it.
Yeah, you can buy the knockoffs pretty
Yeah,
cheap.
it wasn't like a big name brand.
Yeah.
I like it because if I have the K2 set down or like the little REM pod, then that picks up the flashing in it.
Yep.
Plus it picks up, I got a nicer little mic on it, and it picks up really good audio.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
if anyone has questions on photography or video, we're going to do this Paranormal Academy as a series.
Yeah.
So either the next show or the following, we can do cameras or any kind of visual evidence
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah. That's cool.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about that in depth. So, Kevin, you need to weigh in on this too.
I'm not a big audio guy, as I already talked about. I have hereditary hearing loss, so for me, audio is kind of out the door. The big thing when it comes to audio is I can't hear a person whisper. So if I hear somebody whisper, I just make sure that I say it vocally that I heard somebody whisper, so that if somebody is around me with audio recordings, they can capture that I heard a whisper, and they can listen closely and say,
Right.
check that audio.
okay.
Because if I can hear a whisper, there's something there.
And it probably
Exactly.
wasn't really a
So you
whisper
say
then.
somebody yelling, but
Yeah.
to use a
Not even. It's really like when I've heard a couple whispers before, and it's more like there's actually somebody who is almost in my head. It's like right in my ear.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
clear. You can hear what they're saying.
That's a little nerve-wracking when that
Yeah.
happens.
And if somebody would walk up to me and whisper in my ear, anybody that's ever done it, I've always turned and looked at them and go, I have no idea what you're saying. So when I can hear it, there's something. I'm a big video and photography guy, just
Yep.
like Chris. So that's what I do. I'm the guy that's always walking around the building saying flash and blinding people.
Yes. Yeah, I got my camera. I got like an older, it's a Canon. I forgot what that was. T3i. So it's a few versions older now.
Yeah.
But it takes wonderful pictures.
Yeah.
It does.
You know.
Can't go wrong with the
Besides
Canon
that, I have
stuff.
my own K2
No.
meter that I always carry with me.
Yep.
And that's basically just for base readings. And like I said, I can't hear them. So if I want to have a conversation, I'm going to set that up so I can actually see the visual conversation happen.
Like I know for me, when I go in with the K2s, the first thing I do is go along the walls, around the outlets, around any of that type of stuff. You know, if they're going nuts,
Then you know to stay away from that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know where you can set down your K2 meter at that point and say, okay, this is a good safe area to put it.
You know.
Yeah, so, I mean, essentially, we've established the importance of audio, okay?
Yes.
That it's an inexpensive and easy way for a new paranormal investigator to get involved and do audio stuff.
Yeah.
It's very promising if you want to actually get audio evidence, because getting a photograph of a spirit and getting video is much more difficult, and it's
You need
more
a lot
rare.
of patience.
Yes.
It's rare, okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of times when people get a picture of something, it's purely by accident. They go
Right.
back through and say, "Oh my god, I never even saw
Yes.
this." So the audio is usually the one that comes through
Yes.
the most. So audio should always be part of your investigation. That
Yes.
component that you're using to get your evidence with. So
That's also the nice thing about a video camera is, especially if it has a microphone on it, because now you're getting your audio and,
Yeah.
you know, if you're lucky enough, something visual.
We've got some. We did the one thing with the film crew at was the Halbert House, and the guy picked up an an audio clip from his camera. He had a professional camera,
Yep.
you know, one of the bigger ones, and he had a very sensitive mic. And I said something about the dolls being creepy, and it said, "I know." It was like a whisper. We use that in our presentation as well. So yeah, that's another good way to pick it up, like using one of those DSLR cameras with a mic, shooting video.
Yep.
All that's important, but still always have an audio recorder just in case.
Yes.
Definitely.
You may hear it, but then sometimes the camera might not pick it up. But the other thing you have to remember is that and I know this to be true because I've been in places where I've heard something and I've smelled something, like a fire. Now, how do you smell something burning? We're in a place where people died because there was a fire.
Right.
And we were in there talking about it. All of a sudden, we could smell fresh smoke. Now, there was no smoke in the air, okay? So somehow this spirit, whoever it was able to put that into our subconscious to smell smoke
Yes.
because it was gone instantly. And smoke doesn't just dissipate like that. It
No.
has a lingering.
Yeah.
You could smell it a little bit on your clothing, my hat, whatever.
Yeah.
It was gone. Then we also heard a woman whispering to us or going, yoo-hoo, stuff like that. But our audio recorders didn't pick any of that up. It was almost like it was like directed to us to hear it mentally,
Right.
but not an actual audible sound. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is, did we really hear it with our ears? Or did we hear it with our mind? I know it sounds weird, but when you're dreaming and you're hearing noises in your dream, you're not hearing it with your ears.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So that's another thing that we've had a few examples of. So just to show you that sometimes the audio stuff is directed for you to hear a different way than your ears.
Try not to hold the actual microphone the whole time either, because just
Right.
the simple movement, a little bit, just a little like that, will
Yeah.
start making crackles and noises
Yes.
in the microphone.
I like to keep them
You know,
stationary. I like to set them down.
Set it where it's not going to get, hearing taps or walking.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, or you walking,
Yeah.
you're walking
Yeah.
by when it's windy.
Yep.
So set it down or something. So
Well, I think we got a lot of good information in this episode. It doesn't actually mean that you're ready to go out and investigate, but I hope you guys picked up some stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys as well, being new investigators.
Right.
There's some stuff I picked up just sitting here talking about it. I do have a comment from Pete. We set up a new page on Facebook called Ghost Stories of Oneida County.
Oh, nice.
Basically, we're trying to get people to just share ghost stories or legends or lore that they've heard that's around Oneida County. So that's what we put that page up for. and hopefully we can get people to just start sharing some stories.
Yeah, get on there. I mean, if you find this stuff fascinating like we do, get on there, listen, learn, and share. You know, if you know something, you know, ask questions. We're always about, you know, interacting with people. Also, you know, go to our page, our Facebook page, Agent Paranormal. You know, follow us. You know, watch our show on Disruption Network, The D, if you can. We'll be going back to live events at some point here, and we hope to see you come into one of ours. But also, in addition to following us, definitely follow Disruption Network on. Definitely follow them. They've got a lot of good programming on there besides just us.
And congratulations to them too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Huge
Got a Sammy, right?
congratulations for the Sammy that they just won for Local Music Mondays.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, that's
It's a great show. So this streaming content is the way that the world is moving. People want to see stuff other than traditional broadcast cable TV.
Right.
So that's why these platforms are so big. And then the pandemic hit, which just, you know, I wish I bought stock in Zoom before any of this stuff ever happened.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
We say this every show. If you have an idea for a show, reach out to the Disruption Network. They'll get you going. They have everything set up here.
Yes.
So
It's
just
amazing.
reach out to them. Give them a call. Give them an email. I don't know. I'm not giving out the number because I don't know a number. So,
or if you'd like to be a
Go on
guest on our
Facebook.
show, basically let us know. If you got a topic you want to hear us talk about, we haven't covered, let us know. Well, we got some other great guests, paracelebs we'll be bringing on in later episodes. And we're also going to be streaming live from different events and stuff that we do once we get back to that. So we're progressively moving there. We've come a long way since we did the Zoom ones where everything was on lockdown and we were just like 4 to 6 faces on a Zoom screen. So we're glad to be back into the studio, and hopefully we'll be out doing some stuff live. So
we're almost out of this. We're almost at the doorway to get out there and be free.
we're getting there. Just remember, everyone get along. I know Facebook has been a lot more pleasant since the last few weeks and is there for a while. But so that's our show tonight. Thank you. I want to thank Vicky and Chris for coming down, and Todd and Kevin as always. And hopefully Chris will see more of you. Huh?
I'm hoping. Yeah.
Yeah.
What,
Schedules-
nothing for Vicky?
Well, yeah.
Well, I
not really.
I haven't even got there yet.
Wow. Wow. That was harsh.
I think our next 2 or
Oh, thanks for
3
pointing that out, Kevin.
I had to jump on it. There was a pause there.
I thought you said you had this hearing issue, or
Wow.
disability, and whenever I say something, he always catches it.
I have headphones on, and they
He's got
have
him
the nice
cranked all the way
suction
up.
cups on
He's got him cranked all
He's
the
got
way.
them all the way up. He hears everything now.
So our next 2 or 3 episodes, we haven't really hashed out how far we're going to go with this, is going to be the Agent Paranormal Academy.
If anyone's got
Remote
questions
learning.
about anything, send them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to see more of this content, let us know. We'll actually even do some live sessions or actually do the demonstration and stuff for you right here on the show.
That'd be nice.
You can see it for yourself. So that's all we have for tonight, unless you guys have something else. And Vicky, you're coming back too, right?
Sure, why not?
Sure, well,
Kevin.
thanks, Evan.
So
Evan.
everyone have a wonderful Sunday night. Thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, make sure you check us out on Facebook at Agent Paranormal and also Disruption Network. And we look forward to seeing you at the next episode in 2 weeks. And have a great night. Stay safe, man.
Good night.
Scary
Night.
later.
Peace.